Tonight, Target 8 investigates a Columbia daycare where former employees say their constant complaints to the state aren't getting good results. Good evening, I'm Lydia Nussbaum.
And I'm Jim Rick. Thanks for joining us. Tonight, they're wondering why the business is still running, saying issues could jeopardize the safety of kids. Target 8 Chief Investigator Jamie Gray joins us with the team's latest story.
Well, this started with one former employee contacting us and then ballooned as more people, including a concerned parent, came forward. They say they've complained to the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services, but the facility is still open. KOMU 8's Carla Valcourt is in the studio with the specific complaints and how the state has responded.
Earlier, I shared this video that shows two employees demanding payment from their employer at Lots of Love Daycare. They say their boss hasn't paid them in months, but they say that Columbia Daycare is having a lot of problems. The problem has trickled into other areas, claiming the center is unsafe for children.
If you can't pay your employees, are you feeding the kids?
But a former employee says,
the best way I can put it is those poor kids were hungry.
I think if a parent were to walk in at lunchtime and see what I served their child, I don't think they would be happy.
Former employee Kay Otterberg said the same about breakfast and snack time.
Why are they only getting one package of crackers, graham crackers, for 15 kids? That means they're getting a half a graham cracker is all they're getting with no drink, no nothing else. That's it.
I had one crying to me because she was so hungry.
On June 14th, the Department of Health and Senior Services investigated the daycare after an employee anonymously described the food situation. The document says the facility cook stated she does not measure the snacks for the children. The department wrote in an inspection report that the amount of food in the kitchen could not feed 40 kids, but employees fear the department's findings are just another slap on the wrist.
If you go to the site and you look up Lots of Love on their site, it tells you complaint, 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 restriction, complaint, complaint. So how many complaints and how many restrictions, how many times does the state need to go there for them to actually say, forget this, it needs to be closed down?
So I did some digging. I visited the Department of Health and Senior Services website and found the daycare has been in violation of licensing rules consistently since its opening in 2015. I found the most common violation at the daycare to be staff-to-child ratios. Otterberg says the day she walked out, the owner left her alone in a room with 20 kids without a break or an aide.
I thought, you know, this is ridiculous. I am not going to do this.
That's when kids get hurt. That's when bites happen and nobody knows.
A month ago, the Department of Health and Senior Services found two infants in the facility's parking lot without adult supervision. The person who was supposed to be watching the children was in the daycare's playground and had more kids to watch than the state regulations allow. Right now, the daycare is still open, and the employees say the daycare is a disaster waiting to happen.
It's going to take something bad to happen there for state to actually open their eyes and say, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with this center.
The former employees say they're left with little hope the state will resolve the problem.
I don't know how much faith I have in the state system right now.
When I first started getting complaints, I tried to talk to the owner to get her side of the story, but she refused to speak to me. She handed me a sticky note with a scripture on it. It said, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper." Yesterday, she agreed to have an interview with me and meet at the center, but she declined a couple hours before our scheduled time. In the studio, Carla Valcourt, KOMU 8 News.
The daycare is currently under a probationary period for a minimum of 12 months. This means the Senior Services Section for Child Care Regulation should keep a close eye on the facility. At the end of the probationary period, it will decide whether the period will extend or end. The department has declined to comment on questions about this specific facility because there is an ongoing investigation there. If you missed Carla's story about the employees not getting paid, you can watch that on our website, KOMU.com. Just go to the Target 8 tab. We've also had a lot of people commenting on our Facebook page about this story, so feel free to discuss the topic of daycare safety there as well.
A former